All right, everybody, we are going to be getting started. Please grab a seat, make yourself comfortable. Beautiful, beautiful. So who here is excited to be a part of the second n8n San Francisco Meetup? Woo! Come on, a little bit louder. What do we got? We got a packed house today. We've got some amazing presenters. We even are going to be doing another raffle today, giving away a starter n8n license. So this is going to be amazing, and we are also streaming on our YouTube channel. So if you want to go back and watch the replay, that will be live and available. This is going to be 4 different presentations, and we're going to be finalizing with the voice RAG AI agents, and then starting with the more. So here's what we've got going on for the day. We have my partner from n8n here, Angel Menendez. We're going to be talking about automated connections, some of the ways that we are helped to grow this event. Kayla Love doing n8n with Go High Level integrations. Christina Liu and Emile, I can't say his last name, so apologies, with a human loop service escalation system. Zubair, a AI voice agent systems, Q&A, and then food and drinks. My name is Dylan. I am the community manager of North America, primarily building things in San Francisco with all you cats here, and my goal is to help facilitate and grow the n8n community and help support you guys build amazing connections with humans and AI agents. So right now, this is a survey that we'd love for you to take. This is going to put you into a raffle where you could possibly win an n8n starter license, so please pull out your phones, take a screenshot of this right now. I'm just going to give you a couple seconds. It is a very fast survey that you can go through and pick, but this is just all about helping us create the event that you want. Do you want workshops? Do you want to have socializers, mixers? What would you like to learn? API integrations, AI agents, databases, systems. We want to help you build and do what you want to do and be able to help you create all of these amazing automations through the power of n8n. So does everybody have that? Give me a thumbs up if you have this taken and you guys are ready to go on this. Yes, you're good to go. Fantastic. The people that will fill this out, and we'll be doing this towards the end of doing the raffle, so we'll give you a couple of minutes to get through this and fill it out. But this would be helpful for us and to help you. Fantastic. All right. So just to let you know a bit of our growth that we've had. We've kind of been going a little bit crazy here with n8n. I think the last time I was here last month, I think we're at 110,000 GitHub stars. We're now at 122,000 GitHub stars in the top 50 GitHub repos of all time with n8n. And what's amazing about n8n is the fact that you can not only get the cloud service, get up and going quickly and easily, but you can also download the GitHub repo completely self-hosted for free and use it, because we are here just to provide value to all of you. We get tons of views on YouTube, people that love to share what they've learned, to grow and connect to other people that are passionate about the n8n. And then we have communities spanning all across the world, learning and growing with n8n. But this is kind of a wild metric. I think this kind of shows you the sign of the times with just AI in general. So one of the other things that we have here is, if you want to have this as well, this is something we want to give to you. If you wanted to have this as available just for the people here for the San Francisco July meetup, it's 30% off for the cloud. And now just to let you know the way this works is, if you just want to have 30% off for the month, you can pick the month option. It will give you 1 month 30% off for the cloud. Or if you pick the year one and you pay up front, you have 30% off for the entire year. So dealer's choice, choose what you want, but feel free to take a screenshot of this, and you can use this to get a discount if you want to get up and running with the Cloud Starter program. So we're going to be jumping right into demos here. We're talking about a LinkedIn DM automation system. Part of n8n is about solving real-world problems to basically automate the things that don't serve us, and to ultimately use that technology to build communities and connect us with each other. So as someone who came on as the community manager here and looking to grow the community inside of here, I had a problem, is that the thing I wanted to do was send out lots of messages to passionate n8n users inside of San Francisco, but I didn't want to go through the manual task of going and reaching out to everybody on LinkedIn, find out who's interested in this, and then following up with them to send them invites. So I reached out to my partner and buddy here, Angel Menendez, who you might have seen, who came in to help me build out a system that we're going to be showing you exactly how it works right now. Angel?
All right, let's do it, everyone. So excited to be presenting today. So when Dylan reached out to me, I was so excited because I had just recently released a video for, I believe we called it Request Router. So I had been playing with the LinkedIn API for a little bit, and one of the things that I found working here at n8n, I start to conceptualize APIs now through the n8n interface. So it's so much easier to kind of conceptualize ideas and iterate and create these MVPs when you're not conceptualizing code, but you're conceptualizing inputs, outputs, colors, blocks. It's so much easier to do that. So what you have here is one of the reasons that some of you might be here. So I had gotten the request from Dylan, and he had told me, hey, we have this list of community members that have, I believe, liked the LinkedIn page. They're interested in n8n. We also have a general idea of where they're located. They're in San Francisco. What can we do to kind of reach out? So what we ended up building, and this is a work in progress, so typically I do like to put images and things inside of the workflows just to make it more visual, but in this case, we're still kind of working through it, making sure it works good, and let's dive right into it. So the way this begins is essentially either on a schedule or manually. Dylan is able to essentially trigger this to run and pull up attendees from the list. And for the sake of privacy, since it includes, PII information, emails and things like that, I'm not going to run it so that we don't expose that information. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more high level. But essentially here we have a spreadsheet with all of the, essentially people who have interacted with n8n's LinkedIn page. And it's divided up by location. So we have a spreadsheet that's specific just to San Francisco. So what we want to do is essentially, first of all, look for duplicates, make sure that they're removed. We have the remove duplicates node. This is something I don't think a lot of people are fully aware exists. So you can essentially, in this run, extract all the users and then remove the duplicates here. Another node that I feel like doesn't get enough love is the compare datasets node. This node essentially gives me the superpower of being able to synchronize databases. So with this node, what I'm able to do is essentially choose where the outputs go. So what we're doing is comparing the cleaned up list of duplicates versus the list in general. And if we have essentially here a duplicate, we're live cleaning out those duplicates. So here I'm deleting the rows specific to the duplicated items and keeping a singular value here. Here we're checking to see if, let's open this up, if it contains LinkedIn. So what we're doing is essentially making sure that the profile contains LinkedIn, because it's what we're using a backend called Common Room. And Common Room connects to many different social media platforms. So LinkedIn is just one of them. So one of the things we're doing is clearing out anyone that isn't in LinkedIn, because this automation is essentially targeted for that, for LinkedIn. Then here, another node that I feel like doesn't get a lot of love is the limit node. So in this API we're currently using to send and receive messages, we're using a service called Unipile. Unipile is like a relay for LinkedIn. So it allows us to have essentially webhooks and live message alerts essentially from LinkedIn into n8n. So what we don't want to do, since it is a relay for LinkedIn, we don't want to overwhelm the API. So that essentially allows us to limit how many requests we send in a given time. So in this case, we're limiting it to only 20 at a time, because the limits are about 200 a week. So we can't send a huge mass of messages because LinkedIn has their own limits on what we can send. So what we're doing here essentially is getting the LinkedIn IDs, we're looping through them, and we're also, one of the things that this sheet has is essentially the LinkedIn handle, which is not what the API uses to be able to send messages. You need the LinkedIn ID. So one of the things we're doing is we're translating those handles in real time to the LinkedIn IDs here. Here we're using what I like to think of as the Swiss Army knife of nodes, the HTTP request node. We're updating the sheet that, hey, we found the ID. We're passing that ID to the sheet to make it easier in the future to communicate with these users. And then we're merging those two inputs, making sure that the provider ID exists. And then here's where the meat and potatoes lies. So essentially here, we're looping through the LinkedIn users and inviting them to connect by sending them a message. So we're saying, hey, we see that you're interested in n8n. So essentially it's my buddy Dylan here sending out a connection request. You may notice that he might seem a little automated. So essentially that's coming in from him, from this workflow. So essentially here, we do have some await, and I believe this is just a few seconds, 5 seconds here, to ensure that we don't hit any rate limits. We don't want to get in trouble with LinkedIn or Microsoft essentially saying, hey, you're asking for too much too quickly. No, we're going to limit that. So here, we then send the message saying, hey, I'd like to connect with you. And it's a very generic message, just a general connection request. And then we loop through all 20 of them, and that's essentially it. So that's the first half of it. Now, as you probably are all well aware, LinkedIn has kind of a two-step process. We send out the connection request and then we have to wait. So essentially somebody is going to say, yeah, Dylan looks trustworthy. He works for n8n, you know, see that face? Yeah, I'll go ahead and accept the connection request. And that's where it gets handed over to the second portion here. So let's zoom in here. So here we receive the LinkedIn connection request. Now we have a problem. All messages flow through this webhook, which makes it very difficult to say, oh, this is a connection like acceptance or just a general message. They're saying, hey, how are you doing? So we have to do a little bit of checking in advance to make sure that this is the initial connection request that we sent to begin with. So we do that in a number of ways. So here we receive the message as a webhook call. We go ahead and check to see who sent the message. So we have the ID, we have Dylan's ID. And in here, we're able to say, did Dylan send this message or did the user send this message? If Dylan sent this message, then essentially we are good because that is actually what we're looking for. So, oh, let me pull it. Yeah, okay, we're good there. So it's equal to Dylan, excellent. So we're checking to see if it's true. Yes, Dylan was the one that sent the message. We're going to go ahead and get the whole conversation history. We're going to see how many messages have been sent so far. Is this the first message that he sent? The whole conversation might have a whole stream in it. So there might be, hey, this is Dylan, I'd like to connect. The person responds and says something like, yeah, you know, I'd love to connect, what can I do? And so now the number of messages is increasing. So we need a way to essentially not automatically inject this automated message in the middle of a conversation. So what we're doing here is checking to see the number of messages is less than or equal to 1. So is this the first message that has been sent to this LinkedIn user? If it is, then we're going to go ahead and continue. We're going to go ahead and check that initial spreadsheet to see if this is somebody that we have previously invited. If it's not, we don't want to give them yet another message. This might be like a personal request from someone else. We just kind of want to ignore it. So here we're using the no operation node. From there, we're checking to see if the connection is on the spreadsheet. And then we'll update the spreadsheet to essentially say, hey, this person has responded. This system is working. One of the big things about n8n is you want to be able to track the return on investment. And the investment here is time. So you want to make sure that this is worth the time that you're investing. And that's what we're doing here by updating that row and putting a little tick mark that, hey, yeah, this worked. This person, not only did we reach out, but they've responded. From there, we want this system to be able to grow. So this is not a one and done type deal. We want to be able to send these essentially as invitation requests as they happen. And we want to be careful not to send one to one that's already happened in the past. So what we're doing here is we are going into another Google Sheet. Essentially the list that we have here is called events, and we're pulling out that list. We're checking to make sure it hasn't happened in the past already. So it's after now. And then from there, we're sending the actual event invitation. So in the spreadsheet, Dylan has a pre-formatted message that goes out to everyone for this specific event. Here's the Luma link, please register, go from there. And that's essentially it. So in a nutshell, this has been working wonderfully. Dylan, I don't know if you want to step up and kind of give some general numbers. I know that you've been running it on the back end. About how many messages have you been processing now with this system, would you say?
I mean, so we can send out up to, I think it's like 200 messages a week right? So if we're doing that per month, you're talking about 800 messages, connection requests going out, and then if people respond, and they respond in kind, then we then send them the link to the event. So by setting up the system one time, we've been able to save so much time on the back end, 800 messages going out, and then inviting people to come connect, learn, and grow.
So I'd say about 1,600 total messages, the initial send message, and then the response message. That's a lot of time over a given period. So that's essentially my presentation. Hope that you continue to use it. And again, it's a work in progress. So we keep building on it. Once we get it to a point that it can, everything is working smoothly, I hope to publish this on our gallery so you guys can utilize it for free, use it to hopefully spark your own events, hopefully n8n related.
Yeah. Awesome. Big round of applause here for Angel. And we're going to open up for 5 minutes of Q&A, so I'll be walking around. You stay on the mic here.
Perfect.
And so raise your hand if you've got questions. We can't run it because we've got PI information inside of there. So.
Sorry. We don't want to, especially if we weren't on the live stream, it wouldn't be as big of a deal, but because it's actually exposing things like emails and personal names and things like that, we don't want to expose that information. Otherwise, I would love to run it.
By the way, huge fan. I've seen your videos as well.
Thank you.
Can you walk us through how you conceptualized it and made the workflow? And I guess the kind of things I'm looking for is you think about inputs and outputs, colored boxes, like how much was like on a notepad? How much were you thinking? And then like at what point do you just start coding or noting, whatever you want to call it?
Great question. So the answer is vibe coding all the way. So, not quite. It kind of is to a certain degree. So a big part of it is I had the advantage that I built and I have that video out, request router, which is an automatic LinkedIn message responder. One of the issues that we ran into as well is we get a lot of connection requests. We get a lot of messages sent to us. And me and Max on one of, I think the tacos and tequila video, actually, if I remember, that was kind of the process. It's like a 40-minute long video. It's a little longer than some of our videos, but I think that does a great job of explaining the process. Now, it's not specific to this one, but it's like the precursor to this. And it's the same process. We sit down, we know, because of what we've done in the past, that these APIs are capable of X, Y, and Z. But because of n8n, what we're able to do then is just play around with it. We're able to sit down. So me and Dylan sat down. We've had, what would you say, like maybe 4 sessions total, like an hour or 2 each to build this? And so we would sit down and we'd say, okay, let's talk through it. I know on my end, my specialty isn't so much n8n as it is JSON. I know JSON very well, very intimately, just because in previous organizations I've worked with, they beat it into me. So what I bring into this is I take Dylan's ideas and he's telling me, hey, so it would be great if we could do X, Y, Z. And so I bring him back down to earth. I'm like, okay, yeah, the API can do that. Or, no, I don't think so. Or, you know what, maybe it can, let's find out. So we'll run the execution once. And one of the things we do essentially, and you're probably all very well aware of this, is run up to a certain point. And we keep doing that until we get the outputs and inputs that we were looking for. So we chunk it up. This version that we have here is probably, like I said, version 4. There were bugs, and you'll notice near the bottom, we have our error alerting. So the first time we ran it, I think we started an infinite loop. If I remember correctly with someone, we sent like 6 messages before we hit that stop button and managed to rein it in. So there's plenty of trial and error. It's not what I would call a set process, but it's more of you want to have somebody that understands what the backend is capable of. I already had that from my work with the request router that I did with Max. I brought that to the table with Dylan, and I was able to share that, and at the same time kind of teach him what it's capable of, and then he's able to take it to the next level. Does that kind of answer the question, more or less?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I don't think you use a single code node, right?
No, I try to avoid them. That's one of the things too, is like, I think Max put a meme one time of like the guy looking at the other girl and he's got his girlfriend next to it. It's like the AI nodes and the code nodes, like everyone goes to it, but so much capabilities or functionality is already built into many of the nodes we use. And it comes back to, if you want to be really good at n8n, start with the basics, which is JSON. Understand how JSON works, what you're doing. All of n8n is really just transforming a JSON output, unless you're working with binary files. And so if you can do a good job of transforming or understanding, hey, I'm getting this and I need to transform it to that, you're halfway there. From there, it's just hitting that play button until you get what you want and going from there.
Yeah, and a lot of this comes down to like real world use cases. Like I had an actual problem. And so when you have someone that can technically execute and then I'm going back and forth with him, part of it was we went into like a design board. I used Lucid boards or Miros or whatever you want to use. We kind of talked it out on there, did some boxes, built the first section, tested that out, and went through and kind of said, okay, well then what's next? So then what do you do next? So if you kind of map out what the human does and you know what that issue is, and you can say, okay, this is what the human normally does, then we can translate that on a design board, bring that into here, test it one step at a time as you're moving this across the process, and then as you go through it, you go, but then what happens if they don't respond? Or what about a delay? Or what about, and start thinking about all the different possible variables that could go through the system, and then you start building for each one of those test cases. And you get most of the way there, and then you always want to go back and double check the system so that you can fix, update, and iterate as time goes on. Yeah?
Perfect, yeah. I think we had another question.
Okay, this will be the last question. Right here. Okay.
Sure. My name is Aditya. I create n8n AI agents. They are absolutely amazing. And I've implemented them for small, medium businesses here in the Bay Area for their sales, marketing, operations, and HR. And every time I implement it for any business, they always ask to automate their LinkedIn processes. But my biggest worry is that LinkedIn hates automation, and I don't want my client's account to get blocked. So I know how to create it, but what is the boundary line where we can become safe? And actually, it has happened with me in the past. I was trying to automate my LinkedIn a little bit, and it got suspended for a week. And having 150,000 followers and your account getting blocked for a week, and then you're worried whether it will be reinstated or not, right? So what is the boundary line? You say like 200 messages or connection requests a week. That's a lot, right? So how can we become safe and still automate LinkedIn?
That's a great question. So I'm going to try to pull it up. Great. So again, we're working within a third-party service. We're not actually using n8n, or I'm sorry, we're not actually using LinkedIn service for this. We're using Unipile. Unipile's documentation does a slightly better job than LinkedIn's in terms of being clear as to what is allowed. So before I started building this, I had the same worry. So a big part of being successful with n8n is reading a lot of API documentation. And that's essentially where we did this here. So here's kind of the key in terms of what we need to be careful of. So for a paid LinkedIn account, you can send between 80 to 100 invitations per day, about 200 per week, with messages up to 300 characters. So that became kind of the defining part of the build, is like, how can we reduce this? How can we stay well underneath that, right? So if we do 20 a day, that allows us to stay well within that. That gives us a buffer if we accidentally run it too many times, right? So I think taking a look at the API documentation, understanding that, and then from there, picking a percentage. In our case, it was like, 10%, and staying within that 10% to avoid kind of going over. In your case, I assume that part of it is going to be expectation building with the client, being like, look, this is the maximum that we can do in terms of like any account. We have to be careful. But part of the beauty of n8n is that you can then translate this to deploying this across multiple users, right? So if you're using multiple accounts, you can then start growing that, because it's not happening through one, but it can be powered by the same n8n instance and by the same either n8n workflow or segmenting it out into sub workflows. So turning many of these portions, like for example, the sending portions maybe into a sub workflow that gets essentially the user IDs of a specific internal LinkedIn users to be the ones sending the messages and the connections. Does that answer the question, more or less? Sweet. All right. Sorry.
You did great. All right, awesome. So that concludes that demo. And so we're going to be kicking it over next here to Kayla Love and Ariana with n8n and Go High Level integration. So we'll go ahead and turn it off here. Kayla Love. Huh? Yeah, go for it. Here we go. All right. Big round of applause for Kayla Love and Ariana. Yeah.
What's going on, San Francisco? How y'all doing today? Okay, I'm Kayla Love, and this is my niece, Ariana. I'm the founder of the AI Homegirl, and you're gonna learn more about that today, but I'm showing you an exclusive behind the scenes, just dropping right now in real time of my very first AI Homegirl, the BritBot. So let's go into it. First of all, I wanna see who is in the room. So make some noise if you use n8n all the time. My pro users. Okay. Make some noise if you just started using n8n. Okay? So then I'm expecting a real loud roar for this last category. Make some noise if you're an n8n newbie. Oh, okay, love to see it. So, just to make sure we're all on the same page, n8n, it's an open source, drag and drop, workflow builder, automation platform that lets you chain together any app or API into sophisticated multi-step automations without code. Although knowing code definitely helps from my experience, but it won't stop you if you don't. So great news, the n8n template library is growing. Last time when I was here for the hackathon, there was about 2,000 workflows. Now we can see it's over 3,500. But the problem with this is that templates do not equal cash flow. All right, a template is not a business. Businesses don't want to buy templates, right? It's just a JSON file. It's like me saying, this is gonna solve all your problems. You'll be able to post across all social media. You'll be able to scrape your LinkedIn. Here you go, business owner.
Thank you.
And it dies right there, right? If you don't know how to properly leverage the tool, you're not going to get the results. And businesses, they want solutions. They want to be able to press a button and get a result. And so today, I'm gonna show you how to take something that looks like this and turn it into something that looks like this. An instant AI agent, or as I call them, an AI homegirl. Oh, and by the way, I'm Kayla Love, the founder of the AI Homegirl. I'm also the author of AI, the Bootleg Brain, which was rated a #1 new release in social aspects of the internet on Amazon. I've done over 15 million views and grown my social media platform to over 250,000 followers across platforms. And I have about 16 years of speaking and performance experience. I recently participated in my very first hackathon right here in this room, the n8n AI Workflow Hackathon. And I was the only solo team to be awarded one of the cash prizes. And I've been building ever since, so about 6 weeks. I love to build. Thank you. Before vibe coding, there was just vibes, and I was running on vibes, and I was able to make this app for my niece when she was just 9 years old, teaching her and other kids that I would teach at school how to make music, right? So this was me going into a code library, not knowing what I'm doing, throwing stuff up against the wall. If only I'd known about n8n and all the vibe coding tools back then. And this is...
I'm Ariana. I'm 13 years old. I started my first business at 9 years old. I'm interested in vibe marketing, and my mom is a chemist and a pilot.
Woo! Hi, Mom! So in today's demo, we're gonna be showing you an n8n integration with 2 other softwares. Ari, what are those softwares?
High Level is an all-in-one CRM and marketing suite that puts funnels, emails, SMS, reputation, calendars, and automations under one login so you can run entire customer journeys end to end.
Awesome. Anybody heard of High Level here in the room? All right, we got some high-level users, and you're gonna see the full potential on why this is such an incredible, powerful combination. What about Lovable?
Lovable is a no-code builder platform that converts plain language prompts into fully functional web apps, letting anyone ship production-ready software in minutes.
Amazing. So these are the 3 softwares that I have bundled together in an end-to-end automation that allows you to create your very first instant AI agent in less than 5 minutes. A fun fact is that I was also accepted into the first cohort of the Lovable Shipped program, and this is part of the capstone for that accelerator. So I want to give my lovely assistant, Ariana, a big round of applause for saying thank you for this part. Thank you, Ari. And now it's time to go into the live demo of the BritBot. So here we are at the BritBot login, and I already have a start here. So we're going to go ahead and put in my friend Gonche. And we're just gonna do chemist.cockpit.com. It doesn't matter. We'll see, this is gonna be passed in the URL parameters. And we're gonna go ahead and put in a website. So this is actually a business that we built on an Amtrak train. It was one of my AI retreats. So I have some people that actually built their businesses in 48 hours on an Amtrak train from here to Bakersfield and back. And let's go ahead and see what's happening in the back end. So the BritBot is being built right now. And as soon as my Cloudflare worker communicates with this page, we're going to see the BritBot button populate to where we'll be able to instantly demonstrate it for you. But let's see what's going on in the back end. So if I go over here to my self-hosted n8n and refresh, we'll start to see that an execution has started to occur for the BritBot. So we have my bot factory master flow. So this is where the magic is happening. We can see that the signal has been communicated, and let me show you exactly what's happening in this workflow. So this is not a template, this is actually one that I built from scratch. And fun fact, you can actually use markup in the sticky notes, so you can put images and videos there. So the form is submitted. Again, this is a form coming from high level, and that's setting off our trigger for a webhook. Now, I have to do a couple things on the authentication, being able to get the proper token for OAuth in order to be able to pass the unique contact ID in the URL. And that unique contact ID is what's going to allow the communication between all of these three platforms, creating that end-to-end seamless experience for the end user. So that's what these couple nodes are here. Now we're gonna go into our scraper. So I found an API for a service called Firecrawl, and I really like this one because it actually allows agentic scraping. So I can have specific parameters of information that I want it to find on the website. For example, hours of operation, common goods and services, physical location, any information that will then be extracted and parsed into a great JSON format that's really easy for my agent to understand. It's gonna go ahead and take that information and start looping it to make sure that the rest of the automation does not continue until I get that approval status that the website has been scraped and that scrape is complete. And if the status is done, it will go on to create a series of documents in a shared Google folder for the end user. I primarily serve solopreneurs, SMBs, content creators, and these businesses don't know a whole lot about automation. They need a very, very simple one-click solution. So I've created this workflow to make editing their agent and training their agent as easy as editing a Word document on Google. As you can see, they're not complete agents because they're not equipped with the memory and the tools that we would typically see, but I wanted to keep the agent node here so that I would have ability to add on additional tools later. Probably could add in the think tool, for example, or anything that's going to increase the viability of this workflow. And let's go ahead and see that our BritBot has been created. So that button now has populated where it was building before, and now I'm able to chat with the website. So I come down here, I've done a little stylization, because my brand, the AI Homegrown, is very much about aesthetics, so I had to, remix the standard n8n bot, give it a little CSS, particularly with these quick start buttons that just allow the person coming to the website, the user, really easy to get that information. So what do you offer? We offer a gamified and structured approach to flight training, including printable and digital bingo-style training boards focused on actionable tasks for obtaining a private pilot license. Gansha, would you say that that's correct? Okay, so that's correct. It scraped her website in real time right here. This is a live demo. And now she can just take this code, copy and paste it on her website, on her funnel, and instantly allow her users to have a conversation. All right, and let's take a look on the back end here. So this is also where high level comes in, and why I've built this on high level is because it automatically provides integration with Stripe, so I'm able to provide an easy payment portal system for my customers, as well as additional revenue. So I can set this up for either a recurring monthly SaaS product, a yearly SaaS product, and I've also built my GPT Glow Up Kit. Why leave any additional revenue on the table when I could make an extra $17 with somebody with one click? Their credit card's already on file. So this is giving into the psychology of funnel and sales marketing. That's the GHL piece. And finally, once somebody completes this purchase, they will get sent to a lovable page, again with that unique identifier being passed as a parameter in the URL. And they'll be able to instantly edit their BritBot, as well as those quick conversation starter buttons, and export that code instantly. So somebody can literally have an AI agent based off their website, end to end on their website, running and trained within 5 minutes with the BritBot. So just to recap what we've done, n8n is responsible for the back-end functionality for this multi-agent framework. Essentially, the flow that you've seen is an agent that creates other agents. And that allows for upsells later on when I roll out more homegirls. They'll be able to upgrade, and it upgrades their workflow in n8n, adding more tools. High level is responsible for that three-page sales funnel for all of the payment handling, automated email sequences, and the overall customer journey. I can create a pipeline and easily monitor where each one of my customers is in their flow. And Lovable is where the customer portal lives. It also has authentication with Supabase and database foundation for, again, future agents. This is just the beginning. BritBot is currently just as a chat widget, but you'll be able to take this agent and deploy it in your Instagram and your Facebook DMs or anywhere where you're engaging in conversations with clients. Thank you so much, and I'm happy to start taking questions. And special thanks to the partners here.
So Ariana here is going to be walking around. Raise your hand if you'd like to have the questions answered.
And also, if you wanted to claim the My First AI Agent kit from the AI Homegirl, I'm going to be releasing that tomorrow, and you can pre-order yours for free just for being here right now. All right. Any questions?
My name is Jesse. First of all, I want to thank you for all you add to the GHL community, because I see you dropping wisdom in there, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
I'm curious on the GHL integration side specifically, other than the form and using the form inside of Lovable and things like that, is there any other types of integration that is happening specifically with GHL, Lovable, or n8n?
So right now, GHL is more so on my side to manage my customer database versus me selling it as a SaaS, but it will be available in the future as a snapshot. And it's also just an easy way for me to be the one-stop shop. So if I have a client that doesn't have a website or doesn't have a CRM, I'm able to provide them with all of that. As well as is the unique contact ID. That's all coming from GHL, passing in the URL, the parameters. Hi, hey, what's up, Matt? Oh, here, the microphone's right there.
So the question is, how do you deal with model issues like hallucination or deterioration over time? How do you evaluate the performance over time if you're deploying it, and how much time did it take you to kind of from zero to customer deployment?
So the first part of the question was how to avoid hallucinations. Really, that's still some of the kinks that I'm working with, because it will sometimes hallucinate links. So it's really just a matter of like continuing prompting. I've gotten a lot of the hallucinations that I was originally seeing out of there, but I'm constantly tweaking that master prompt, which actually would go into the code node. Let's see if I can go ahead and show that. And the code node is where this is actually an API call using n8n's API to create a workflow for that specific user using this raw JSON, and also mapping that contact ID. So I end up editing that main prompt that basically is going to be creating all of those future workflows. So that's just the kind of constant iteration process. And then the other aspect in determining the performance is that the conversations are documented also in Supabase, because right now it's a very simple workflow that's calling to Google Docs as tools. But ideally, when you're creating an agent, you want to have a vectorized database, like Quadrant or Supabase integrates nicely with Lovable. So that's what we're working on in the next MVP.
Great job. Big round of
Awesome.
applause.
Thank you.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
You got it. Next up, we have Christina and Emile here. They're going to be showing how they did a human in the loop for customer escalation. So give us one moment to set that up for them.
Wow, AI homegirl.
incredible presentation. Okay. Test, test. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Emile, and I'll turn it over to Christina for now.
Hi everyone, I'm Christina. We are the co-founders of Poku Labs. But before we get into what the demo is today, I actually want to start with a bit of background on how we got here. This is our preschool. I bet that's not what you were expecting. So Emile and I left our tech jobs last year, and we invested in a rock star teacher to start her own preschool program. For a while, Emile and I did everything, including taking all the front desk calls, answering all the parent texts and inquiries. Now the preschool is fully enrolled, which we're really proud of. But Emile and I also said to ourselves, okay, why not return to our tech roots and build some AI agents to help out with the inquiries so we don't have to do that all day? And I would say these agents, they were pretty good for a while until they ran into some issues and the parents got really frustrated. We would find out hours later by reading the call or text logs, and by then it was already too late to address the issues. So we felt this pain very personally, that we had no way of intervening in the conversations, we had no way of giving these agents live feedback or live guidance. And that's what led us to build Poku Labs and really go back to our tech roots. So Poku offers a human-in-the-loop layer that works alongside your AI agents. Today, if you don't remember anything from this presentation, I want you to be able to walk out of here with the ability to add to your n8n agent a connection to our MCP server and be able to call these two tools. So your agent will be able to loop in a human in these two ways. So first, it'll be able to contact a human for live instant feedback. This is really great for urgent situations. Let me just cancel that. And two is your agent will be able to flag a conversation for human review in the Poku dashboard, which Emile will show you. Okay, we're almost at the demo portion. Click again, okay. Let me just redo the slideshow. We are almost at the demo portion. I just want to say, why is this important for all of you? Why does this matter? Well, as small business owners ourselves, I can tell you that if the agent is 95% there, I still won't put it in front of my customers if it's going to give them a bad experience. I really need to know that 100% of the time, the agent is going to be reliable and I have some control. So if you think about it that way, the human-in-the-loop layer is kind of like a no-brainer safety net that you should add to catch all of the edge cases as you're building AI agents. Okay, I'm gonna set up the scene before we go into the workflow and the demo. So imagine John the locksmith. Emile is gonna pretend to be John. I am going to pretend to be a customer. John's busy running around San Francisco all day, helping people with their locks and doors, and he's got an AI agent set up to respond to texts. So he has the AI agent responding, but he does want to get looped in for certain scenarios. He doesn't want the agent calling all the shots. The first thing we'll demo today is what happens when a customer starts to negotiate on pricing.
Okay, great. Let me show you the ADN workflow really quickly. It's just this. It's pretty simple. It starts here on the left with an incoming SMS message. These next two nodes are optional. They basically send some information to the Poku backend that allows you, if you want, to disable the AI agent and do a manual intervention to take over completely. But the important part of this workflow is right here, the MCP client that the agent is connected to. So you can see that the endpoint points to Poku Labs. Right now it's SSE, but we also support streamable HTTP. And we've connected to two tools here, Contact Human, which will be the first demo, and Flag Chat, which is the second demo. Okay, great. Now let's go to the demo page. So here on the left, we have Christina, the customer, texting in to John the locksmith's front desk AI agent. And she's asking about how much a smart lock installation would be. Okay. She also, so our AI agent is prompted to respond with basic information, $300. She then said, I got another quote for $250. Would you be willing to match that? And we've prompted our agent to, in the case of price negotiations, don't respond to Christina. Instead, come to me, John the locksmith, send me a text and ask for my input before giving her a price. So I'll say, yes, we can match that price. And again, I'm side channeling here with the AI agent as John the Locksmith. So I told the agent, yeah, we can match that price. And the agent's going to go and relay that message back to Christina. Here on the left, you can see the agent just sent Christina a message on Google Voice saying, yeah, we can match the $250 price. Okay, that's demo number one. That's the contact human tool in action. It's good for like real-time communication with a human when you need their immediate input. Let me flip to the next demo. So demo number 2 is when you have a little bit more time and your agent wants to flag a message for John the Locksmith to review later in the day when he has time. Okay. So Christina just sent a message in. Okay, she schedules something, and then she adds a note for John, saying, the gate access code to my apartment is 4267. So once again, we've prompted in our agent, and I can show you the prompt during Q&A, to, if it receives information about accessing the property, flag that. Okay, so let me go to the Poku UI. This is our dashboard. And there, you can see that this second message, this is the chat with Christina. It's exactly what you were seeing in the Google Voice chat. It was just flagged, and that's indicated by that orange bar next to the chat. So you can imagine John the Locksmith coming to the dashboard at the end of the day when he has time, seeing all the different chats that his AI agent was autonomously handling, and then also seeing the chats that had bubbled to the top that need his review. Those are flagged messages. So he can click into this chat, he can look at review required, and the agent gave him a bit of context. So the apartment community gate code is 4267, and then once he notes that down, he can resolve that chat and the flag goes away. If you guys are interested in the Q&A, we can look through the Poku dashboard a little bit more, but let's return to the final slides.
All right, awesome. So Emile just showed you guys how our human-in-the-loop tools work with text-based AI agents, but they actually work with agents of all different modalities. So think voice, chat, or other workflows. We do have some exciting news. So earlier today, we launched with Retail AI as an official partner. So if you don't know them, they are a no-code voice agent platform primarily, and you can add human-in-the-loop tools to any Retail AI agent you build, and then you can link that agent to your n8n workflows. Alrighty, Emile, you want to take this?
Oh, yeah. So this slide is just about, we presented a pretty specific use case with John the Locksmith, but under that is a pretty generic tool. So we have a few different companies using us in interesting different ways, an AI coaching agent, he's here in the audience, see if you can find him later, and some financial services doing inbound customer support, also outbound marketing. All these use cases merit human-in-the-loop type interactions.
Okay. Last but not least, we want you guys to walk out of here equipped with the ability to add those two tools to your agent. So we're actually giving away our workflow for free download, and we have a step-by-step guide. All you got to do is scan this QR code and then hit send on the email, and we'll respond with all those free resources. And we would love to hear from you guys, get any feedback. So yeah, thank you guys so much for the time.
All right, great job. We're going to be opening up for some Q&A right now for a couple minutes. So does anybody have any questions? Raise your hands. I'll walk over to you right now. Is your hand raised back there? Okay, coming back. I couldn't tell if you're raising your hands or you're giving cheers because you're in your hand. Okay, coming on down.
Oh, yeah. One more time, please.
It's not working. Okay, my question is, how would this work in the healthcare industry? Like HIPAA compliance, privacy, speaking to maybe patients, or if you have a company dealing with parents and children?
Yeah, that's a good question. It depends on the channel. So what we demoed today is SMS as a channel. So all the traffic, all the communication, all the human in the loop is done over SMS. I imagine healthcare might use its own channels, but we're interested in hearing feedback about what other communication channels are beneficial for people. We're also considering Slack, Telegram, WhatsApp. Healthcare might have its own specific ones though.
Any other questions? Oh, one more over here.
What's the reason name Poku Lab?
It just came to me. and yeah, upon further investigation, it means pork in Japanese.
Okay, I like to explain it to people as in, think of it as like a poke, because we're poking a human for attention. So that's the added meaning after we came up with the name.
Oh, really? Do you have an Android?
If it doesn't work, you can just send us an email at hello@Poku Labs, and we'll make sure you get the guides and the workflow.
Any other questions?
We're actually only accepting Mac users.
Do you briefly describe the MCP and how that fits into it, and specifically how the data flows from the AI agent, how it sort of maybe interacts with the Poku Labs MCP, and how it sort of goes back to the agent?
Yeah, let's look at the agent prompt. So it's pretty minimal. Inside the agent prompt, after connecting to our MCP server, you have to indicate when it should call what tool. So right here, we have a little description about if the customer talks about how to access the house, use the flag chat tool. If the customer is talking about pricing discount, use the contact human tool. And you can create multiple of these conditions. Back on the MCP server, it's really just a matter of connecting to our endpoint and selecting our tools. The flow that happens under the hood is once your agent decides to use the contact human tool, because it's a non-deterministic solution. If you prompt it well enough, your agent will at some point decide to use contact human. Once it does, it sends, our MCP server receives a trigger to then send out a text to the number that you've configured in the Poku dashboard. The way you configure who to text, like it was texting me, John, on my phone number. And the way you set that up is with a very simple configuration, just pointing to your human number here in the Poku dashboard. After that, it will wait some amount of time for you to respond, and that's configurable. We have it here at 120 seconds. And then after it receives a response from you, within 120 seconds, it will then ingest that into its prompt and continue the conversation.
Give a big round of applause. Thank you very much. All right. Now, I know some of you showed up late, so what I want to do here is put on the screen. Let's see if this thing plugs in and puts at the screen. Maybe yes, maybe no. There we go. So this right here is a survey that will help us make the events that you want. So we want to know how best we can serve you. If you want, some of you came in late because this filled up quite a bit afterwards. So I'm just going to hold this up for a couple quick seconds. We will be raffling off at the end of this a free starter license for the year. So if you haven't taken this and you do want that chance, go ahead and take a screenshot, bring it plus at your phone. This will be up for about another 10 seconds. And then we're going to be bringing Zubair in here to show you how to do the voice agent with RAG. Everybody got it? We're good? All right, ready, set, go. Zubair, my friend, come on in.
Hey, there you go. Hey guys, How's it going? My name is Zubair. Well, hold on a second. Perfect, thank you. Hey everybody, my name is Zubair. Just a quick intro. I have a YouTube channel, AI Workshop, and a school community where I teach people essentially n8n. If you're interested in kind of starting your AI agency, kind of all of that good stuff. But I've been creating with n8n for the past 8 months now. I was one of the first content creators around n8n. It's been an incredible journey to kind of see n8n grow from where it was about 8 months ago to now. So I'm super excited to talk to you guys about kind of the RAG agents and then also voice AI agents that are really picking up momentum. And there are a lot of really great platforms like Retail AI, Vappy, and these other great voice platforms that are hitting the market. Now, a combination of these voice platforms with n8n is probably, when it comes to actually creating production-ready agents, is probably the best combination to have with n8n. And I specifically use Retail. For those of you who are not, if you're not familiar with Retail, they're a Silicon Valley-based company. Really great product. They're very beginner-friendly. So essentially, the things that you're capable of building with n8n and voice agent are inbound, outbound, and also post-call analysis. So that's one of the most important things when it comes to building a voice agent. When there's a conversation that happens between a voice agent and a customer or whoever the user is, one of the important things is to kind of grab that transcript and be able to, update things like your CRM or whatever it may be afterwards. So that's kind of like the after call post analysis. But one of the great things that I wanted to showcase, and this is going to be the demo here. I wish I had more time to demo a lot more, but this is just a very simple one. This is essentially a voice agent that is initiated from a form submission. So there's research done that when a customer fills in a form in a website for whether it's some kind of inquiry, whatever it is, if that company or that service contacts them within the first minute of them filling the form or submitting the inquiry, the chances of that sale closing is 391% higher compared to like 10 minutes after they submit. So, and obviously a lot of businesses, you can't manually handle that, and that's where a voice AI agent with the combination of n8n could become super useful. So this workflow, it looks very simple, but essentially this is on a form submission. I'm just using the n8n form, but this could be anything. It could be any form that you could utilize through the webhook or n8n's native integration with different forms that are out there. But essentially, you can imagine this is just a form that could be submitted in a website or a service. I'm just going to go ahead and fill my name so you guys can see this whole demo. Select the budget. So I just created this for my AI agency, but you can change this to whatever. By the way, all of these tutorials are available on my YouTube channel. I'll put the QR code afterwards so you guys can see the step-by-step tutorials for all of these. So I'm gonna say interested in information in my business. So after the customer fills this form, if I could spell, as soon as I submit, let me pull up my phone here so you guys can hear it. As soon as I submit this form, as you can see, this gets initiated, and hopefully, there you go, as you can see, I receive a call, and now I can pick up the call and have a conversation with this. Hello?
Hey there. It sounds like you might be referencing a phone call and something about £0.5. Just to clarify, are you Zubair, and is now a good time to chat about the AI solutions form you submitted? Or did you mean something else by £0.5? Let me know how I can help.
Yeah, who's this?
Fantastic, thanks for confirming. This is Jarvis from AI Workshop AI Agency. You recently filled out a form about AI solutions for your business, and I'm here to play matchmaker between you and the perfect specialist. Am I catching you at a good time?
Can you guys hear this, by the way?
Or should I keep my witty AI banter for another day?
Jarvis, how did you get my number?
Great question, Zubair. You actually provided your number when you filled out our form about AI solutions on the AI Workshop website. I promise no secret agent stuff. Just here to help you find the right AI specialist for your business needs. If you'd like,
All right, that's enough. So as you can see, we can play around. I mean, I prompted the agent and the voice from the front in retail. So this is basically the front end part of this. The initiation occurs from n8n, obviously when the form gets submitted, that workflow gets initiated. But what that's doing inside, so let me go back right here. So if we go to this HTTP request node, so what we're doing is we're reaching out to the URL, which is this API on retail, and this create phone call endpoint. So from that, I'm immediately using this JSON right here. So the override agent ID, so what you see, this one right here, this is the agent ID that retail provides. So I'm literally just copying this and pasting there. And essentially, it's using the to number and the name, the phone number, the service budget, everything else is captured from that form. So it has that ability to grab all of that information, and inside my retail voice agent, as you can see, I have these dynamic variables, the name, the budget, and everything else. It's getting that through the API, and I'm prompting it. The great thing about retail is that you have the ability to really control the prompting and how your agent is able to interact with the customer. So there's a lot you can do, and then also as far as the hallucinations, that's a big problem usually for voice agents. Now the great thing is you can really control that using prompting. You can make this prompt really small, precise, and you can control how the conversation goes between your voice agent and the customer themselves. So there's a lot we can do here. So let me quickly show you guys a few other things. Obviously, I won't be able to do a demo, but essentially you can create a RAG agent here where you have the ability to use a webhook with an AI agent that has access to a vector database like Pinecone. You can do Supabase, whatever it may be. You can make this really, really powerful. And the way to utilize that is you would, on the front end, same thing, you would go to a function, to a custom function, and you would provide that endpoint, that webhook endpoint in n8n right here, and then you can provide a JSON schema on how to send that information from the front end to the back. And then same thing as far as so let me quickly bring in another, so this is an inbound. Yeah, this is a dental office, so I can show you guys what the inbound looks like. So essentially, this would be the inbound agent, meaning that when you call a voice agent from a phone, after the call is over, we're using a webhook to grab all of that information, and using an AI agent, we can update our CRM, like your HubSpots. You can send an email, you can send a Slack message that this person has called, or this was the interaction that happened between the voice agent and the customer, and you can grab all of that information, like I said, update your CRMs, and then now you have that customer's information for upsell or any other agents that you can build. And obviously, like I said, this is just an example. You could build. So I recently built another one that looks like a Christmas. Hold on one second. By the way, if you guys didn't update your n8n yet, they just released their Agent 2.0, which is incredible, which gives you the ability to basically add sub-agents. So you can have, I know this looks really complicated, but basically this is an orchestration agent, and now you can add an AI agent as a tool where then you can, same thing, you can add a webhook here, and you can add multiple different AI agents. Like I have, for example, personal expenses, and this is a vector database, the company knowledge. You can have an AI agent that's just responsible for your calendar, email, or whatever it may be. So that's where now we see this whole big opportunity here where you can utilize a front-end platform even for your inbound voice agents, and utilize n8n vector databases and their amazing workflows and AI agents to be able to really make your voice agents really powerful. So I think that's good enough. I'm gonna leave this up here and then open it up for questions for you guys.
Good job, Zubair.
Yeah, of course. Questions?
Could you expand? Hi, I'm David, if anybody cares.
I care, David.
Oh, thank you. Can you expand a little bit on what is the role of a vector database here? I mean, is this doing cosine similarity, or what exactly are you doing with it?
That's a great question. So obviously for a vector database, there's the difference between a traditional database versus a vector database is the fact that with semantic search or with vector search, you have the ability to, or the data is fully understood, right? So when something is uploaded into a vector database, not only does the agent understand, but it also has the context. So as far as the data retrieval process becomes a lot quicker because obviously it's utilizing chunking strategy, right? Versus a traditional database where if you're just giving it like, a 100-page Google Sheet or something like that, it's not gonna be as accurate versus a vector database because especially when a voice agent needs to retrieve information quickly during a conversation, then a vector database is something that becomes extremely useful there so that way it can retrieve that relevant information a lot quicker.
And are you using the same embeddings that whatever LLM you call it?
Yeah, so there's different types of embeddings. I mean, obviously, depending on whether you're using OpenAI. I know the embedding 3 small is probably the most popular one. I use that predominantly most of the time. But then also, if you really want to move into production, then you can use another product called Vectorize. Vectorize is incredible because you can actually schedule your updating your data that's already sitting inside a vector database. Because one of the problems with traditionally uploading data into a vector database is that if it's duplicates, then what ends up happening that you have that gets re-vectorized, and then now you have duplicates of that data. So what you want to do is you need to be able to have a platform that can go ahead and delete those vectors that exist already, and then upload it again with the new data.
Yeah, thank you. Great presentation. So your YouTube channel, and I really enjoy it.
Thank you.
To see you over here.
Thank you.
I'm wondering how you come up with those great ideas and how you push yourself to present output and create those great YouTube videos for us.
I don't sleep. No, it's honestly, it's very enjoyable. I think one of the reasons, in my opinion, why n8n became so popular is the user interface is very beautiful. And another thing is, I feel like every time you see those green tick marks and the AI agent goes through and actually completes a workflow, I feel like you get a little dopamine hit, right? So it kind of becomes very addictive. And honestly, I'm a huge fan of just building, useful things. That's why one of the main purposes of my community is kind of utilizing these things to actually build solutions for businesses, right? So that's what we focus on. And one thing is obviously these AI agents look great, but a lot of times for production ready, when you're solving a business's problems, a lot of times it doesn't look as sexy as a bunch of AI agents, right? It's usually very simple workflows that are, Code Node is one of my favorite nodes in n8n. When you create production-ready workflows, a lot of times it's a very simple workflow automation rather than AI agents. Yep. Go ahead.
I think the question is about out of all the voice tools, other tools like Buppy and n8n Labs and the Reader, which one do you prefer?
Great question. I've used Vappy and n8n Labs, but in my opinion, Retail is probably the best platform right now, just because of how, first of all, it's very beginner friendly. And then on top of that, you really have a lot of control over how the conversation of your voice agent goes through prompting, and they also have another voice agent. So there's single prompt agents and there's multi-prompt agents and even conversational flows. So that way you can really control the actual conversation that a customer can have with your voice agent. You can actually not only prompt it, but you can actually write the exact reply that the voice agent will basically perform during its conversation that's happening with them. Yeah. So just overall, I think I always look at kind of the user interface and then beginner friendly, because most people are new to this space. So that's why, in my opinion, Retail is probably the best platform. I might be biased because I'm their official partner, because we provide certification for people through for Retail. But honestly, just honest opinion, they are the best, in my opinion. Go ahead.
Any other questions over here?
You just yell. So there. Yeah.
How do you save the data after the call, like in terms of call recording
Yep. Yeah, okay. So the question was, for those of you who didn't hear, how do you do the call recording afterwards, and how do you essentially use the transcript to do other things, correct? Right, yeah. So in retail, if you come to so this is basically the kind of the agent there. So on the left-hand side, this is your prompting. On the right-hand side, you have access to put a lot of different functions here. And then in the bottom, there's a webhook setting right here. So as you can see right here, this is where I have put that webhook setting. That is the n8n.cloud webhook. And afterwards, if I go to my, yeah, so essentially you use, so this is the webhook that we copy. I mean, this one's like a little gibberish, but so I'm copying this webhook, right? And then I'm pasting it right in my webhook URL right here. So after the conversation is finished, Retail automatically sends you 3 webhooks. The call initiated, call ended, and then call analyzed. Now in that call analyzed, you can actually put post-call analysis, you can actually put variables that you want to capture during the call with the customer, right? So for example, if your voice agent is having a conversation with the customer and you want to be able to grab useful information like, hey, what was the mood of the customer, right, during this call? Obviously, your normal information like your name, email, phone number, all of that can be easily retrieved. But you can literally specify whether it's just text or actual conditions that you can put. Hey, did the customer seem satisfied with the conversation with the voice agent, right? What was the demeanor and all of that stuff? That could be captured and then that will be sent to this webhook, where then now you can use that webhook like I showed here earlier. You can then do whatever you want with it, right?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Last question, anybody else?
When you create this workflow orchestration, specifically when it is a multi-agent architecture, how do you have a way to create a good eval set, or in this case, in the audio case, where it can go anywhere, depending on what the customer even asks, right? How do you really know whether your agent is performing in terms of accuracy and reliability, and not just functionally?
Yeah. So in retail specifically, you could do this two ways. You could do it inside retail itself, where you have kind of your analytics. So this is the dashboard that you can see. And when I was telling you earlier about kind of the post-call analysis, where you can actually grab data, the conversation. So all of that could be done in retail, or like I said, inside n8n, right? Like once that conversation is over. So that's why I have this kind of as an example, and I've just attached a bunch of tools here. But you can imagine that all of that transcript is coming in through this webhook, and then you can utilize an AI agent to really retrieve and analyze that transcript for different purposes, right? If your goal is to retrieve customer data, so that way you can store it into your CRM so you can upsell them for future deals or whatever. Like for example, for an auto garage, right? If somebody comes in for an oil change, or if somebody's booking an appointment for an oil change, you can grab all of that information about their car, about their name, email, and then you can utilize and have a workflow that can upsell them using the outbound calls that we kind of looked at. So there's multiple ways. You can either do it through the retail dashboard themselves, through the post-call analysis, or you can use and grab all of that transcription and use a webhook to use AI agent to really process that.
Awesome. Great job, Zubair. Big applause.
All right. Oh, sorry.
Dropping the mic and the phone.
I know, right?
All right, how was that for y'all? You like that? You enjoy that? Yeah. Woo. All right. So, those were a number of our presenters, all community sourced. Everybody here is local, bar and Angel, semi-local, but flew in just for this event. And just to let you know, we're gonna have more of these meetups. We have the next one scheduled here. Now, this thing did sell out. You can tell this is pretty much a packed house. So if you do want to get in, are you serious about learning and growing with the community and leveling up your skills with n8n, this is live on right now. It is the Thursday on August 21st, 6 to 9, same location, same bat time, same bat channel. You can check that out. And if there's anything that you did want to demo, if you do want to get on stage and there's something here that you want to present and offer value to the community to help inspire, connect, and grow, feel free to shoot me an email. There's my email. And yeah, we're going to put this up. Now we are going to be moving on to the raffle time, everybody. Hopefully you got in the survey and you completed it, and so we're going to be moving into that. I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like. It is a simple survey raffle. The way that thing works here is we're just taking a Typeform trigger, we're throwing that into a Google Sheet, and then from there we have this simple form that is going to be using the form submission, that is going to be grabbing the list. We're going to be using a code node for random selections. We're going to be setting some variables with that. And then we are going to be moving on and announcing the winner. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and we're going to hit this execute step here. Pull this up. We're going to select let's do this. So drum roll, please, everybody. Oh. All right, Gina Levy. Gina Levy here. Yes, yes. Raise your hand. Oh, coming from the back rows all the way to the front. Gina, come up to the front. All right, beautiful, beautiful.
Hi.
Hi, thank you so much. If you want to follow up with me,
Okay.
congratulations. We'll set you up with a starter license. We'll get you all squared away.
Perfect.
So follow up with me after the event. I have
Okay.
your email. It's all saved in here, but we'll get that over
Thank
to you,
you.
okay? All right, beautiful. All right, sweet. Wonderful. Beautiful, beautiful. So that is about everything inside of here. Thank you. We do want to give you a chance to connect with the community here, talk amongst friends. If you saw some of the presenters, you feel free to have conversations with them. Pizza will be arriving here in about 7 minutes, so socialize, have fun, connect, and thank you so much for participating in the second San Francisco n8n Meetup. All right, all. Bye now.